UFC 291, Poirier versus Gaethje 2. We're breaking it down for DraftKings. Mostly fantasy, but we're going to talk some bets, a little fantasy. I've got the Monkamatician with me here. Now, for those of you looking for Sniper on the Killshot, Sniper will be back for DF's Army VIP specific breakdown. He's going to bring his point of view. We couldn't get all three together at the same time, so we're rolling two. So DF's Army subscribers, you will get a Sniper video, and of course, we'll have a Prize Picks Sniper breakdown as well. Love that. But we've got a spectacular UFC card set for this weekend. We've seen this fight before, Poirier Gaethje. We're going to see it again. I'm excited for it. This is a pay-per-view. We got Jan Blachowicz taking on Alex Pereira as well. A couple of big names all throughout. Tony Ferguson is back. Chiesa. A lot of big names on this card. So let's get into it. We are going to break this down. We're going to go bottom to the top, Monk.
I'm down with that.
Let's go bottom to the top. So we're going to start in the first prelims and build our way up to the main event. This is a big card, a lot to talk about, a lot of really great DraftKings fights, and I'm really excited to go over the numbers, the metrics, and pick out who we like here. So let's get started. And at the top of the card, we've got Miranda Maverick taking on Priscilla Cachoeira, with Maverick coming in as a minus 270 favorite, and the comeback on Cachoeira plus 230. Women's fights, man, never safe to pay up on the betting angles. But Miranda Maverick is also priced quite high on DraftKings. I think she's coming in at 9,400.
Yep.
Yeah, so she is high priced,
I believe.
High priced on DraftKings. The fight kind of minus 115 over 2.5 rounds, so 50-50 kind of to go to decision or inside a distance. And there's some interesting metrics on this one, Monk. Miranda is definitely a grappler. I'm not sure if she's thought of that way, but she certainly is a grappler, averaging 2.25 takedowns per 15 minutes. She's up against Cachoeira, who has pretty bad 65% takedown defense. She has been dominated on occasion by fighters who have grappling upside. If you take a look at the Cachoeira record here, you can see that, her loss, who's she losing to? Gillian Robertson. Why? Because she can out-grapple her. When you look at sort of the rest of her opponents, these are all strikers. Lipsky, Kim, Mazzani, Dobson. These are all strikers. They don't really have grappling. So when Cachoeira is, I think Cachoeira here will be the better striker. She even lost to Molly McCann in a grappling heavy loss, if you recall back. So I think that what we're going to see here, the way I see this going down, Monk, is, Miranda Maverick is going to be the better. It's a grappler versus striker to me. I think Priscilla will probably look better in the striking exchanges. And the question is, how much control time can Miranda pile up over the course of these 3 rounds to get the win of the grappling based win? I think she might be able to get a takedown and keep Priscilla down for the whole round. Potentially, but how do you see it going down, Monk?
Yeah, I agree. I've seen a lot of love on Priscilla Cachoeira this week. I mean, I don't mind it. I think overall this is a great sleeper-ish kind of fight to target. As you know, I love women's flyweight fights for the optimal lineup. They make the optimal 53.6% of the time, second only to featherweight at this point. So, the combined stats are very good. Let's see, they have 10 fights between them since 2021. 5 times either them or their opponents have scored over 100 points. So very, very good there. 7 of those 10 times either them or their opponents have made the optimal lineup. So fantastic numbers. Miranda Maverick has sneaky good numbers, averaging 109 points per win at in 3-round flyweight fights. And I believe 4 of her 5 wins at the weight class are over, or I think it's all 4, maybe 3 or 4 or all 4 are over 100 points. So she is a consistently good scorer when she wins. The only thing I'm looking for from Priscilla is if she catches Miranda and is able to finish the fight. That's why I kind of like a little bit of her for DraftKings. But I really do favor Maverick. I think, like you said, she can get takedowns. I think she can rack up control time, land some, either significant or non-significant ground strikes just to keep racking up those points. And I don't know if Priscilla is going to be able to get up. So if she does, maybe we'll see a rinse and repeat, even better for DraftKings, rinse and repeat takedown. So I like Maverick a lot here. I will be playing both sides, but I definitely prefer Maverick and I don't mind playing her at 9,400 cash or GPPs.
Yeah, same here. I'm picking Maverick to get this win, but with the caveat and the understanding that, listen, Cachoeira probably will be winning this fight in the striking exchanges. So that's dangerous. That I am not laying minus 300 or minus 280 or any of that on Maverick. And I understand why there's some love for Cachoeira out in the betting world, because if we were strictly talking betting here, then yeah, it makes some sense. I want to take the plus money on a fighter with a path to victory of just stopping a takedown. And yes, Cachoeira has been dominated in grappling, but she could stop a takedown. It's not she also has the ability to stop a takedown, to learn how to stop a takedown, to be a little better. You see this all the time. So, Gillian is probably a better wrestler, a significantly better wrestler than Miranda Maverick. I would probably pick Jillian Robertson over Miranda in a grappling match, right? So we have to see how this one goes down. It's not clear cut, and you never want to lay too much chalk on female fighters. That is the ultimate. But I do still think Miranda can win, and I think she's an acceptable DraftKings play because Cachoeira, they don't call her Catch a Beaten for nothing. Like, if she's not winning, she sometimes just gets lit up, and she doesn't have much striking defense. She doesn't really even seem to care much about defense. So that can sometimes lead to a monster score.
Yeah, and she on average gives up 117.7 points per loss. So
exactly. So when she loses, her opponents tend to smash. And that is a statistic I feel like that's probably not paid attention to as much as it needs to be. Like, when she loses, her opponents put up a big number. And so you always want to target the opponent of Priscilla Cachoeira or Priscilla herself.
Estela Nunes a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving on. Fight number 2, prelims. Matthew Semmelsberger taking on Uroš Mediš. Right? You like how I said that one? Practiced it significantly before this podcast. So Semmelsberger's coming in at minus 200 as the favorite. Mediš is plus 170 as the underdog, and the fight ends inside the distance is a very strong minus 260. I actually want to pull out the numbers for each guy inside the distance. Semmelsberger inside the distance plus 100. Mediš inside the distance plus 240. So, you know what? For a fight that didn't necessarily, for me, pop off the page, Monk, as like big score at all. It doesn't. Neither one of these guys do a whole lot in the grappling realm. Semmelsberger averaging 1 takedown per 15. Mediš does not do a lot of grappling, but I actually think we'll see more grappling in this one than typical. So I think we'll see a little bit more of Semmelsberger going for and potentially getting takedowns here. Mediš is pretty bad in terms of takedown defense, 66%. That is not very good. Can get back up. He's got monster volume. And this 8.14 strikes per minute, Monk, and you'll love these numbers. And that's established over quite a few fights. These aren't numbers that were established on small fights, but mostly he got there because he's finishing his opponents. He's getting wins in the first round in his 2 wins. He does have knockout power. So I don't think you can count out Mediš at all in this fight. I think he might be one of the better underdogs, but how do you see this one going down from a scoring perspective?
I completely agree. Scoring wise, I do like this fight. A lot of people on Semmelsberger this week, and I understand why, where his line is currently at compared to his DraftKings salary. I mean, there's inherent value in there. I think he started at like minus 145, something like that. He's now, I think, up over minus 200. So there's a ton of possible value at 8,600 there. That said, I think people are counting Medič out. I'm kind of 50-50 on this fight. I don't really know who's going to win. Everybody sees the Semmelsberger number, like 10 knockdowns in the UFC, 9 or 10 knockdowns. And everybody sees that and they're like, oh, he's going to smash Uros. Oh, he's going to wrestle him into the ground and just smash him. Yes, he could, but Uros has power as well. I know he doesn't quite have the experience. Semmelsberger's best win, I mean, he's fought, let's see, his strength of schedule is actually not bad.
I mean, the Jake Matthews win, I'm going to give it to him.
Matthews was good. Lost to Wells, lost to Alex Morono, beat AJ Fletcher, and then Martin Sano, who had no business being in the UFC. He put up 126 points. I mean, it was a first like under 30-second finish, basically. You can't really count. You got to throw that stuff out. Meanwhile, Medic looked great against Morales. His only losses to Jalen Turner in the year 2021, when Turner was doing whatever he wanted to absolutely everyone. And then he smashed Elon Cruz before that. So I do like Medish is if that's how we're saying it.
Medish.
He scores very well, 5.3 a minute, 115 on average when he wins. I just think you have to play both sides of this. I think the inherent value on the line compared to the current salary for Semmelsberger is value. And I also think Euros is going to be very underowned because people are just flocking to Semmelsberger and his power. So give me I think this is 50-50. I'm going way over the field on Medic, and I'll probably see what the ownership is on Semmelsberger here. I don't know who I'm picking yet. I think it's close.
Yeah, I this is exactly the kind of situation you got to pay attention to on DraftKings. All right, and you literally just nailed the breakdown on it. You have to pay attention to these because all of a sudden Semmelsberger is minus 200, right? Okay, if you're planning on DraftKings, okay, I can get minus 200 odds for what is a reasonable price. I think he's what at 86 or 8,500, 87.
86. He's the fourth cheapest fighter favorite on the card.
He's on the cheaper side, so you're kind of like, oh, okay, so I have to pay less money than like even a Carlos Vergara, who we'll talk about next, for Semmelsberger, but he's minus 200. The other guy's minus 150. Like, oh, I'm so sneaky. I'm going to take Semmelsberger. Well, you know what? For all of the knockdowns that Semmelsberger's had, he's not finishing anyone. I don't understand. Like, I think it's just weird variance that's happening. Medic is a finisher. He's knocking people out early in fights. Semmelsberger had some injury issues recently. There is a lot. I don't get the line either. I mean, the line movement tells you somebody thinks they know something. And I mean, this line movement is like someone knows something, right? But I don't know what they know. And for that reason, I agree. I think Urosh Medic at low ownership, plus 170 for a high price. No one's going to own that. If he wins this fight and he wins by knockout like he's been winning, can break the slate. So this is a potential slate breaker. You want to go with the lower owned Medic here, even though, it seems like Semmelsberger should be able to take him down and control him and probably grind out a 3-round decision. I don't see Semmelsberger like getting this easy finish. I don't see it. I don't actually see Semmelsberger scoring that well. I kind of am leaning away from if Semmelsberger's going to be high owned because of that number. I don't see this monster score. So I will probably be below the field on Semmelsberger. I probably still would, I think Urosh is the better DraftKings play. Let me put it like that. Whereas I agree. I don't mind if you're asking me who I think will win. I'll probably lean a little bit, maybe just a smidge to Semmelsberger, but I just think Urosh is the better DraftKings play here. So that's the nod of agreement tells me we're on the same page there.
I agree.
Perfect. All right, let's move on. We've got Carlos Vergara, the aforementioned, taking on Vinicius Salvador, with Vergara coming in as a minus 150 favorite, and the comeback on Vinicius plus 130. The fight ends inside the distance. Is a solid minus 190 here. And I want to hear about your strength of schedule with these guys because I think it's super relevant here. These are both young fighters, Monk. And, we don't know a ton about either guy. I mean, Vergara, he's got a couple wins in the UFC. I'm impressed by them, but he hasn't like blown me away. And quite honestly, Salvador, I don't know what to make of him. I really don't. Salvador does not have a signature win to where I might say, hey, this guy has proven that he kind of belongs in the UFC. His big win was against Shannon Ross, who we see just gets knocked out every single time. So you got to wipe this one out, right? Who's he beaten before that? 0-0. So like, he's got a 0-0, another 0-0 sandwich with one guy who was 9-3. And now you might say, well, why are you wiki capping? Why are you tapology capping? And quite honestly, Monk, it's because I think at the lower end of the skill range, I don't have the ability to watch a fighter and be like, oh, this guy's doing this technique in this amazing way, and he's so great, and wow, look at his countering skills. I don't really have that. Like when you see a guy the best way to judge how good they are is like, who could they beat? Who have they beaten? What level? Get me a general level, and then we'll take the style and we'll apply it to the fight and see what we can come up with. But here he's beaten effectively nobody. He's got nothing here. I don't know if this guy's any good. I don't know if he's bad. Victor Altamirano, nothing special. So I don't know. And he lost. So I don't really know what to. We know he's not as good as Vitor Altamirano, who's okay. So Monk, what do you think when you're looking? And let's go over to CJ Vergara real quick. And with CJ, at least I've got Daniel Lacerda a win, right? Okay, all right. You beat Lacerda, you beat Kletzen Rodriguez. Okay, pretty decent. Not we look at the stats. When you look at the stats of these guys, there's nothing that pops out on screen here really. Vergara, not much of a grappler from what I've seen. No grappling whatsoever. So it's just a striker, high volume. Okay, cool. Salvador, not a whole lot of grappling in his repertoire either so far, at least in his couple of UFC fights. So we really have to go by who they've beaten. And for me, Salvador has not proven that he belongs at all in the UFC. He's beaten nobody. And Vergara has a couple of UFC wins, looked great against Kletzen Rodriguez, who's not bad. And Daniel Lacerda, who literally, is some, well, I guess we can't, I was going to say also lost to Vitor Altamirano. That means nothing. Lacerda means nothing. But so I think Vinicius lost to Lacerda though, right? No. So there's no connection there. But I actually thought there was some connection there, but they both lost to him. So it doesn't matter. But my point is, Vergara has actual wins. I'm picking him at -147. I think it's fine. But I don't think this fight necessarily projects that well as a DraftKings play. So how do you see this one going down?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it really does score well, especially if it goes all 3 rounds. Salvador, it is interesting, did stop 19 of 22 takedowns from Victor Altamirano in that fight. I don't know what that's supposed to say at all, but he didn't score very well.
That would have scored well on Prize Picks.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
3 points for a takedown defended. But it doesn't matter. This guy's not. These guys are going to strike.
Yeah, exactly. And CJ Vergara, watch him on the scale. He missed weight against Tatsuro Taira, lost. He missed weight against Ode Osborne, lost. He's missed weight in 2 out of his 4 UFC fights at the weight class, and he's lost both of them. So keep that in mind. The Kletzen win, I do like. The Daniel Da Silva win, I don't put any stock in whatsoever. Da Silva is somehow getting a 5th fight after going 0-4. And he's not Tony Ferguson. Like, why are we giving this guy another fight anyway? So I don't put a lot of stock into that one. So the only win I see that I'm paying attention to for Vergara is against Rodriguez. I don't know if that was his first UFC fight, Rodriguez, but either way, it went all 3, split decision, and Vergara scored 83 points. That's it. It was a huge upset because he was 6,800 that week. But I don't like any of the numbers I'm really seeing from either of these guys. Like, I want to see I'm not making any decisions until I see Vergara on the scale tomorrow. As far as strength of schedule, the last point I will touch on, it is about 10 points better for Vergara, but that's mostly because he fought Tatsuro Taira, Ode Osborne, and Kletzen Rodriguez. Meanwhile, Salvador, like you said, 2 of his last 5 opponents have 0-1 records currently after fighting him. So it's going to be a pretty bad strength of schedule. I tend to think this one stays on the feet, like you said, and I tend to think it goes all 3 rounds, and I'm not interested in this for DraftKings. Really, I'm not going way over as far as my ownership on either guy here.
Massively under the field, I agree. And guys who are watching, my DFS Army people, let us know. This is a fight, definitely sketchy one, close call. Do you like this fight? Do you think this one can lead to a good score? Is it sneaky? It does have a high inside the distance prop, even though I don't think they absolutely need that inside the distance prop to hit in order for this to work out. So let us know what you think on this fight, because I think this fight might have, no one's playing Vicious. No one's playing it. So there's going to be some low ownership potential there. Again, Vergara, I think, will be low owned as well. So to me, that's typically like something I'm looking at. I might raise my exposure just a little bit because of the low ownership. But let us know what you guys think. And of course, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit us in the comments. Let us know you're liking what we're. If you miss Sniper, let us know in the comments as well. He'll be around though. Everybody missed Sniper. Oh, Geek is back. Where's Sniper? Where's the Sniper? He'll be back. Don't worry about it. We got you. All right. Next up, we've got Jake Matthews taking on Darius Flowers. Jake Matthews coming in as a minus 255 favorite with the comeback on Darius Flowers plus 215. I like the inside the distance number here, minus 300. This is a big number. And Monk, man, is there a bigger sort of like shit in your what is Cody the
apple pie shitter,
the apple pie shitter than Jake Matthews? This guy will ruin your day.
Yeah.
One way or the other. Like sometimes he ruins your day by winning, and other times when he shouldn't, and other times he ruins your day by sucking when he should win. And that is just Jake Matthews in a nutshell. So I mean, I don't trust him at all. I like this other dude, Darius Beast Mode Flowers. Take a look at the method of victory for Flowers. I believe it's slam. This guy is winning. I love this. With like such an extreme slam that he breaks your back. He's a finisher. You know, he definitely has some submission losses. I don't think his from what I've seen,
he was supposed to fight Jay Ellis, got canceled. Lucky for Flowers, at least, am I right?
I mean, you know, yeah. That another free win. You know, it's too bad, but I don't know. To me, this is a dangerous spot on this card on both sides. And Monk, I need your take on it. I'm having a hard time really bringing myself around to this one because, like I said, Jake Matthews is the most untrustworthy fighter. Maybe one of the most untrustworthy you're ever going to see. Just, you know, when he should grapple, he doesn't. When he all of a sudden he does. When he should, he's averaging almost 2 takedowns per 15. And you know, I think if the fight kind of continues for a while and he gets a takedown or two, he might be able to control the fight and get this win. But I don't trust him one bit. I don't trust him as a heavy favorite. I think I'm on Flowers. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree. I look at Jake Matthews' DraftKings stats, and he leaves a lot to be desired, man. Less than 3 points a minute overall, barely over 2 points a minute at distance. Performs okay inside the distance, nothing special. Scores only 88 points per win at 9,300. What do I want to have anything to do with that? I mean, one of his 7 wins in 3-round welterweight fights has cleared over 100 points. One time. And I believe that would have been, it wasn't even in the last 5 fights. He scored 98 against Fiallo. He scored 96 against Mech, 86 against Sanchez, and then against Semmelsberger when everybody was on him after the Fiallo fight. Well, not everybody, but some people. He puts up a dud at 9,200, 29 points. So
and takes the L, yeah.
And takes the L, exactly. So I don't really like what I've seen a ton from Flowers. I just need to see more of it, is what I'm saying. He does have interesting paths to victory, as you saw or showed on the Tapology page here. I mean, he landed one significant strike against Gogoladze. That fight lasted a minute. I mean, he slammed. Apparently, the shoulder injury may have happened before the slam, if you listen to some people. But either way, it was a slam finish, which you do love to see that. So I'm going to take my shot on Flowers at 6,900. I just think bottom line is 9,300 for Jake Matthews is fucking crazy. You either pay up for Miranda Maverick, you get 20 plus points better on average per DraftKings, or you pay down for someone we're going to talk about in about 1 or 2 fights and go for Mr. Bonfim. You save $100 and play. What is the choice? What is this choice that they're giving us? So I'm not on Jake Matthews really at all. Maybe that'll come back to bite me since he's fighting a newcomer and could finish him early, but he doesn't finish anybody early. He doesn't make the optimal lineup, and he doesn't score 90 to 95 points. So I'm taking my shot on beast mode on Flowers, and I'm not paying 9,300 for Jake Matthews. Maybe not even in cash. I just don't trust him.
Totally agree. So we are on the same page with this. Flowers is the better DraftKings pick here, I think. And you know, at 6,900, by the way, when you do use him, I've made a lot of lineups. The way that lineup construction tends to work this week, it's really interesting because the main event is in the mid zone. And of course, you got the Chiesa fight. You've got about 3 finish fights with really sexy appeal, all hanging out between 8,500 and 7,700 or so. So you only need a couple of picks from outside the zone. And when you put Flowers in there, it's like,
Anybody.
You're open
Like
it up.
Aladdin, I will show you the world at that point. It's a huge mid-range week. And also in 6,900 wins, 86% optimal. So yeah, you're going to want that.
It's really interesting. I've had a lot of fun making, this is my kind of week. I've had a lot of fun making lineups already. I feel really, really good about the approach for DraftKings, and we'll continue to get into it as we talk about each of these individual fights. So stick around, like, subscribe to the channel, and make sure that you are here with us for this and every breakdown across all sports. We've got so much planned, Monk, for this coming season, and the video side as well. It's going to be crazy. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, guys. It gets better and better. But all right, let's take a look at the next fight on this card, and it is Roman Kopylov taking on Claudio Ribeiro. And once again, we've got a nice little favorite underdog situation here. Kopylov minus 200. Comeback on Claudio is plus 170. Fight ends inside the distance is a spectacular minus 275. Do we think all of these fights are going to end inside the distance? Like, I don't know what's going on here with these odds. I was like, I want to bet the unders across the board.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm just surprised at that number. I'm keeping it real. I'm surprised at the number. Now, that being said, Monk, Claudio Ribeiro, again, when we talk about, just before I talk about a little bit of, you can wiki cap this a little bit here, right? Take a look at the record. And when you look at Claudio Ribeiro, I must imagine that red flags are going up on the strength of schedule here. Yes, absolutely. There's a sly knot.
Yep.
So who is he beaten? All right, 24-20, 8-6, 2-0. Basically, you go from here down, and the Thunder fight. What? No, right? No.
Thunder fight. What the fuck?
Thunder fight 19. These are not real opponents, right? Then you get to the UFC, and he loses to Al Hassan. Nothing embarrassing about that. Al Hassan is a bad motherfucker, right? His win is against Joseph Holmes, which is really just a guy that only loses in the UFC. You talk about why is Lacerda getting another fight? It's because he's fighting somebody as scrubbalicious as he is. And why the fuck does the name change, by the way? What is this? Isn't this the same? Isn't this Daniel Lacerda? Oh, no, it's a whole different guy. Oh, whole different guy. Sorry.
Daniel Lacerda goes Daniel Da Silva as well.
Oh, it's Da Silva, not Maybe. I knew it was D something or another. But nonetheless, like, they're giving him a scrub that they're trying to build up. But the point is, Joseph Holmes is garbage. So that win does not count for me. Right? He's garbage.
He's only beaten Alan Amedovski in the UFC.
Alan Amedovski is literally not a UFC fighter. Yeah, either. And so Punelli Soriano, what's the difference here is Kopylov has real wins against actual UFC opponents that have had wins in the UFC. So it's a pretty simple equation for me in terms of who is probably going to be better. Let's take a look at the stats here just to give it a little more feeling, but not much grappling to be expected. Similar strike numbers. Kopylov significantly better defensively than Ribeiro in terms of the actual metrics. But for me, the big question I've got is this worth rostering? I think Kopylov is going to win the fight. I think Ribeiro has not proven that he's worthy of the UFC. He could. He hasn't proven he's not, but he certainly hasn't proven to me that he belongs, where Kopylov has kind of proven that he belongs. They're similar styles, not much grappling to expect. I think Kopylov's going to win this fight. I'm just asking you, do you think he can score enough? He's likely to score enough. It's high inside the distance odds to do what we need.
I mean, everybody's probably thinking that because he put up like 108 against Puna Soriano, who is the ultimate gasser at the weight class for sure. So I don't know how much stock. I mean, he landed 82 strikes in basically 8 minutes, whereas he landed 59 in 11 minutes previous to that, 42 in 15 minutes, and 37 in 14 minutes. Yeah. So I don't know if that was just a function of who he was fighting. He knows Puna's a gas bag and just starts to lay it on him, starts to pour it on in the second round and get the finish. That was a good performance. But I don't know if that's going to be easily replicated here against a guy who's probably, well, I don't know. His cardio hasn't been tested. Ribeiro, he's only been to a decision once in his career, and he did lose that fight. Beat Ugly Man, like you said, at catchweight. I don't put any stock at that. Lost to Razak Al Hassan. Second round KO. Did not look great coming out of that second round, if I recall properly. And he was finished quite quickly after that initial bell rang. So I'm leaning Kopylov. I agree with you completely. I think this is going to be a stand-up fight. I don't think Kopylov's going to be landing almost 10 strikes a minute as he did against Puna Soriano. Claudio's probably going to be, throwing back a bit with a bit more volume than Puna so far. So we'll see. I don't think it scores well. I'm gonna lean with Roman's got to show me more than once that he can score over 100 points, because before that, like I said, D. Carrico, he put up 80. And that's his highest win. He took an L to Duraev and took an L to Roberson, got subbed at the end of the third round in his debut. So
it's also, you got to note the fact that, in 3 of the 4 3-round fights, and you mentioned this, but like to emphasize, the Soriano 82 strikes in 2 rounds was the exception. The rule here is low volume, 50, 60 strikes in a decision, 42 and 40 strikes in decision over 3 rounds. That is not good.
Less than 3 strikes landed a minute in his first 2 fights, so not good. Yeah, I'm
but
going
I like
Kopylov, and I don't like it for DraftKings.
I like the ITD prop. I'll have some exposure just for the knockout upside, but let's see. Again, Kopylov inside the distance, specifically minus 110. He absolutely needs to win inside the distance to have a shot of being in the nuts. So they're giving him good odds to beat it, to win inside the distance, but he probably has to do it based on that salary in the first 2 rounds. I think you're asking a lot. Again, this is just, you want some exposure just in case he gets the flash KO. The same way I probably want a little bit of exposure to every fighter in every card in case they get that quick finish. But beyond that, not a fight. I love it all. Let's move on to the next one. And I'm excited for this one. Kind of. I think I'm excited for it. I love Derek Lewis. Black Beast. He's awesome. He's also coming to the end of his run. Marcos Rogerio de Lima, minus 230 here as a favorite. Lewis, a plus 200 underdog. There are rumors, and minus 450 to end inside the distance, which I went to bet the inside the distance, and then I was like, minus 450, screw that, can't play it. All right, forget it. Right? You can't play minus 450. I was going to bet that, though. No. My first thought on the card was like, ooh, get the ITD on this one.
Almost, you maybe even SGP it and go for like Rogerio, 1 takedown in a first round finish or a second, something like that to lower that a little bit. But still, that's tough.
It's tough. It's a tough one, right? So you nailed it, right? I don't even think he needs. I actually think Rogerio might be better not going for take. As crazy as this sounds, I actually think that the safest path to victory for De Lima might be just staying on the outside and piecing him up. Derek Lewis has lost his durability. He does not seem to want, when he's getting hit, he never liked it. I bet against Derek Lewis and lost so many times. And it's funny because I love the guy. I enjoy his personality and that part of his game. I really like him and I like that. But he's so unskilled. He just wings bombs. And he does not like to get hit at all. He is not a guy that like relishes the fight game. I can see it in his face when he is being hit. He does not like it. He wants a way out. Now you might be like, Kevin, you're a pussy, and who are you to speak about somebody wanting their way out? I'd want my way out of any fight, anyone. But I recognize that in other people, so I'm able to tell. Like, he does not want to get hit, and as soon as it starts, he is looking for an out. If De Lima kicks him in the leg a few times, he might win the fight like that. And Derek Lewis is not a good boxer. He's an opportunistic striker. When you put yourself in a bad position, he might land on you. So when you're going for the takedown, the way he took out Curtis Blades, he just prepared an uppercut, and when he did, boom, and it landed, lucky break. Or the way he took out a lot of his opponents, where he pretends to be hurt and then he just wings a bomb at you, a little sneak play, little sneak attack. I like the sneak attack.
Yeah, he does like to do that. Him and Ty.
Yeah.
Ty was watching those Derek Lewis fights and learned how to do that.
Yeah. The sneak attack. I saw Jan Kuntalaba try that against Magomed.
Yep. It did not go well for him.
No, it didn't go well. So I think this is tough because Lewis is always live for landing that shot and ending the fight. De Lima's not that great. But did you know De Lima's never been knocked out in his career? He has never been knocked out. We think of him as kind of like a wobbler, but actually he's more of a quit to a submission guy than anything else. Like he just is a quick tapper. But that's not an issue with Lewis. Lewis is not going to put any sort of submission move on you. He's only going to do his low pace thing. So I'm picking Rogerio de Lima here. I think this fight probably should be in your lineup. This is one of those mid-salary fights that allow you to do this 3 or 4 mids, one expensive, one cheap approach that I think is the correct way to do this card. I think de Lima will win. And I think the odds are correct here. And I like the minus 230 on him better than I like the minus 200 on Semmelsberger for a similar kind of guy. But I will say this. The downside is 0. Don't play this in cash. And Derek Lewis is absolutely live to land his killer blow. I am hearing, though, in the grapevine that this may be the last fight for Derek Lewis. And if that's the case, I do not expect him to have been training at all. Derek Lewis, I don't think embraces the work of being an MMA fighter. I don't think he likes to train. I don't think he likes to eat well. I don't think he likes any of that. Again, do I have inside information? No, I just watched him enough, and this is my feeling and my belief on the guy. So again, love Derek Lewis. Funny, my balls is hot. I love all of it. But I think de Lima should win this fight. But I love it for DraftKings and FanDuel. I just love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't even, what you said, I don't even know if he wants to be in there anymore. I don't even know if he even likes fighting in his past few fights. Like what was the fight that everybody's like, oh, he's looked the best he's ever felt or ever looked. I read the word svelte in regards to Derek Lewis several times. It might have been his last fight against Spivak. I think it was against Spivak, and he got fucking dominated. It wasn't even close. Spivak, he scored 0 points in that fight. In 3 minutes, Derek Lewis scored 0 points. I usually focus on DraftKings stats, but let's go to actual stats. Last 5. Marcos Rogerio de Lima is one of the best overall strikers at the division, according to stats. Almost a 60% accuracy. Has fantastic numbers, but the ones I want to look at are Derek Lewis's 28% striking defense in his last 5. Gets almost 6 strikes landed on him per minute. It's just bad. It is just bad. There's a reason, the Mendoza line in baseball. Well, in UFC, I have the Lewis line, which is anything under, 2 points a minute, because that's exactly where Derek Lewis has been for most of his career. I prefer Rogerio de Lima here. Every single one of de Lima's finishes have come in the first round. So I am expecting a first round, maybe even early second round finish here. Lewis 1-4 in his last 5, only beating Chris Daukaus, who should have never been at this weight class in the first place. I think you nailed it. I think I'm on Rogerio de Lima. You got to play this fight, though, in case Lewis does get that one punch. I'm not seeing it, though. I will be way heavier on de Lima, and he's made the optimal lineup in 3 out of his past 5 fights.
Yeah, I'm all about it. I have nothing to add there. De Lima is the pick, and get Lewis exposure, because Monk, myself, and no one else in existence can predict if this guy will wing that bomb and land it.
Yep.
But it's going to be one strike that he will be losing. I can tell you he will be losing up until that moment.
And you don't want to be looking in going, oh, shit.
Yeah, no, and it's that simple. I can't believe this fight opened where he was plus 110. You got incredible value at de Lima if you were able to bet it early. So, congrats to those people. All right, next up on this card, Monk. Gabriel Bonfim taking on Trevin Giles. And I'm going to actually push this one over to you, because the Bonfim metrics look really good, especially if you've paid attention to previous fights, to the one fight in the UFC where it wasn't very long. So
You kind of got to throw that one out, Munir Lazez. I mean, under 1 minute submission. I mean, how cool is it? Usually we see the under 1 minute, it's a KO Tico. Under 1 minute sub just is that much more impressive to me, anyways. Only landed 9 strikes, but I mean, what he scored 118 points in less than a minute. So I do like to see that. Mainly, I'm focusing on Trevin Giles this week. 7K has never made the optimal lineup in his past 5. Beat Preston Parsons, Luis Kosuke. The Roman Roman, don't even bring up that Roman one, because that, according to the stats, he should have lost that. My guy Roman should have smashed him, but that's beside the point. He has lost to decent competition in the undefeated Michael Morales and Dricus du Plessis are his 2 losses in his past 5. However, Gabriel looks really, really good, man. I think this might be the better, and everybody's saying that, so it's nothing new. I think this is probably the better Bonfim brother. I just don't know what Trevin, the stats you got to throw out here. I'm just thinking that Bonfim is probably going to be better on the feet. He can sub you from literally anywhere at any time. He can finish the fight basically whenever he wants to, seemingly. So I don't know that Trevin Giles is really going to do much here. I just think Bonfim should be a level or 2 above him, and I think he gets the finish. Bonfim at 9,200 might be one of my highest plays on DraftKings this week.
I couldn't agree more. So effectively what we have here, we've got another hyped prospect stepping up in competition, and we're going to find out. We don't know. We're going to find out. Take a look at Bonfim. What has this guy done except deliver everything that you could ever hope in every fucking fight? Every person that's been put in front of him 100% of the time, what does he do? Finish, 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 finish. These are not scrubs. 8-0, 13-3, 6-0. Finish, 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 finish. How much more hype can there be? So as far as I can tell, as far as my eyes see, I'm like, this guy looks like the real deal. We're about to find out how real it is. He's taking on a better opponent in Trevin Giles. This is a step up. Trevin Giles is pretty good. Again, I agree with you. Homan, that was not a very good win, but he did eke it out. You know, his losses are decent guys. His wins are against kind of scrubby guys. That's kind of who he's been. Bevan Lewis. All right. You beat Bevan Lewis. Koski. There's no honor in a Kosi brother.
Nope.
Win. Preston
Blood
Parsons.
Diamond almost beat a Koski brother, for God's sake.
Yeah, this is not something where that's more of an LFA win than a UFC win. So he's got nothing here that says he's a middling gatekeeper type of guy. I don't think he's the worst fighter in the UFC, in the division. I don't think he's like the worst welterweight in the UFC. He's, probably I'd say a top 30 gatekeeper. Fine. You beat Trevin Giles. You probably belong in the UFC in the division. You'll have a place. So the Bonfim step up here is not that high. It's like, hey, do you belong in the UFC? Yes. Then we're going to say, do you belong in the top 15? Like, who's the next guy in middleweight, in welterweight after Giles for this guy? I'm just trying to think of it, but like, where do you go? I'd have to really think through the division to quite
give him Abdul Razak Al Hassan.
Something like, I'm not sure Al Hassan is any different from Trevor John, but like that's kind of the same. But like what the step up, I'm not sure. But nonetheless, we're gonna find out. But I agree with you. Bonfim does everything you want. He finishes everybody in the first round. Yes, Trevor Giles got a nasty jab. We'll see how that works out. But Bonfim, I don't think I went through the Vegas numbers here, but Bonfim -300 as the favorite. Under 1.5 rounds, -140. I like that. I like that a lot.
For sure.
Bonfim inside the distance, -190. Yes, sir. Sir. Yes, sir. Wait a minute.
That's better than the what was the other fight we were talking about? It's the Vergara fight? Holy shit.
Yeah, this is way higher than Vergara.
Better,
this is the best inside the distance number we've seen on an individual fighter so far. I love Bonfim. I love his scoring potential. I'm loading up on him. Of all of the 9K, the entire zone, this is my favorite of them. I like him better than Green, Maverick, Matthews. It's Bonfim by far.
It is. Mm-hmm.
We have not seen ownership projections yet, but I'm going to tell you something. He probably is going to be super high owned. At least I would imagine. I don't think we're sneaking anything by anybody here, but I think he'll be really, really highly owned. But I love Bonfim, and I don't see having much Giles. Are you going to play some Giles?
Unlikely. 60 points on average per win, scores fewer points per minute than Derek Lewis. His best score so far was the Parsons win at 72. So unlikely I'll have much of him.
I'm with you. So we're in extreme agreement on that fight. I don't see myself having much Trevin Giles. Again, if I already reserved the 150. By the way, on that note,
I saw
everybody
that.
watching this.
Yeah.
DraftKings put out, finally, what did they extended the $3 to 150 entry? Is that what it was? Or it's a $4 150?
I thought I saw the $3 150 was one of the first tournaments posted this week.
Okay. So they did a $3. They expanded the $3 contest out to 150 entry.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've been kind of now you might say, and we'll talk a little DFS here, like general strategy. You might say, well, hey, they do the armbar and it's a $5 thing. Mm-hmm. And what's the difference? I'm going to tell you the difference right now. The armbar has 10,000 entrants in it. For some reason, they cap it at a low number. And that effectively ruins doing 150 because it costs $750. The top prize is 10K. And like, you got to win it really frequently. It's just not that good of a metric, right? Mm-hmm. And the payout is kind of high for first. And if you don't hit it, you're kind of losing money. The $3 contest, the payouts structure is so much better. It's still, I think it's 15,000 to first. I can't see it on my screen because I'm already maxed. Yeah, here it is. Let me actually pull this up here. I'll get the numbers because I want to show what a cool contest this is. Top 10 is just 24%. What that means, and the min cash is 2x, meaning you have a better chance. Now, it's only 10K to first, but you're putting up just $450 in total, as opposed to $750.
Yep.
And it's a min cash of 2x. So you got a much better chance of getting your money back. They're only giving 24% to the top 10. And I'm going to show you the difference in the armbar. The armbar, 40% to the top 10. So it's really different. And when you focus on being a profitable player on FanDuel, on DraftKings in particular, you must pay attention to this because it's really hard to max enter the armbar. If you didn't win or come in the top 3, you're losing money. You've lost money.
Yep.
You're minus, no matter what else happens. Whereas this contest, this $3, if you're just kind of on the right group, you'll probably get your money back at the very least. So it's just a different value proposition. This is a great contest. I would love to see everybody hammer this contest, fill it up. We want DraftKings to keep putting contests like this on the board.
For sure.
It's much more favorable to the players.
Yes.
Right? And the thing for me is, I'm going to tell you right now, I am not maxing out these $25 contests. It is very expensive. Typically, to max out the 25, that's almost $4,000.
Yep.
A lot of it goes to first place. So they want to suck you into this. This is 52% to the top 10, Monk.
Jesus.
When I tell you the money suck, that this is a contest that's designed to suck your money away. And if you don't have, too many people are maxing this.
Agreed.
Because even my bankroll should not be maxing this contest. It's $5,000, $4,000 to max enter, and you're locking in. You're probably going to lose half of it every single time you do it. 50% to first, 50% to the top 10. If you don't finish the top 10, you're down $2,000. And some people can absorb it, but most people can't. This is a lotto ticket. It's $25. Screw that. Right? Let somebody else play in this. Let's play in content. Let's be profitable players on DraftKings. All right. This is a hobby. We're doing it for a long time now. I'm 10 years, 12 years into this. I'm 12 years into this. And I've maintained a bankroll and maintained the ability to play without fucking plowing money into my DraftKings account.
Yep.
Because you cannot allow the suck. But when a good contest comes around, reward it by entering it. So I encourage everybody to do that $3 max enter that shit.
More people that do, they'll bring it back.
We'll fill it. They'll keep bringing it back. I'm in the ear of the DraftKings reps all the time telling them this. Like, well, we'll see. I want the $4 one expanded out. We've seen a little bit for NASCAR as well. The $3 and $4 contest being expanded. And that's what I would like to see a lot more of. Let's, kind of like a reasonable price point where if you win, you could feel really great. Will I have the $200,000 screenshot to share with everybody? No, but I'm just trying to. I like playing this. I like winning, and I like being in the game. And those type of contests help you stay in the game. So
100%.
load up. Bonfim though, love him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up. Like and subscribe. I did a diatribe. Like and subscribe. Do you like the? All right, let me ask the viewer. Right? Wait, let's go up close. Let me ask the viewer. Do you like a little bit of this strategy discussion in the show? Let us know in the comments. Do you agree? Do you like to max enter the $25 contest? Are you that person? Like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm throwing away my money. I'm buying lotto tickets, and I'm fine with tossing it. If that's you, tell me and explain why. I usually try to speak to people from the perspective of people who want to be profitable players. But I've heard from people that say, I don't really, that's not my goal. My goal is to win a big tournament. I don't mind spending a couple bucks each week and taking my shot at 200K. And I like to hear from those people. I want to say, oh, really? That's how you think? And they're like, yeah, I don't mind. I had friends like that who were just kind of, they would tell me, they're like, I don't play to be profitable. It's really? What do you do?
I want to hit the max. Yeah.
Have fun. Put a few lineups in. It's like a lotto ticket for me, and I don't expect to win. And when I don't win, I'm not upset, and I come back the next week and I play again. Put a little more money in. So there's that perspective, and I'm fine with it. But I do like to hear from people like that. Or do you play and say, hey, I want to be a profitable player. I'm doing this. I like it. It's fun for me, but it's more fun to be profitable. And do you like those kind of approaches that profitable players use? Because we could talk a lot more about that.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Next up, and this is an interesting one as well, high inside the distance prop. Mike Chiesa taking on Kevin Holland. Chiesa plus 122 is the underdog. Kevin Holland minus 142 is the favorite. Fight ends inside the distance. Minus 210. That's a big number, Monk. That's a big number.
Yeah, it is.
Now, here's what's interesting about this fight, and I got to hear from you. My first thought is Kevin Holland lose two wrestlers. Michael Chiesa, aggressive wrestler. Why is Holland favored in a fight that almost looks designed for him to lose? What am I missing about this? Because I don't see Mike Chiesa being like, hey, I want to test my striking. I don't know if he even likes fighting anymore. That's what I'm concerned about. But I don't see him being like, hey, let me test my striking against Kevin Holland, a guy who lost to Derek Brunson by simply laying on his back when he got taken down, talking to Dana. Kevin Holland does not. Vince goes crazy. Vince in the DFS Army Discord chat for MMA, also who is one of our coaches, goes crazy in Kevin Holland fights. He hates him. You know why? I'm gonna make an assumption here. I believe he hates him because Kevin Holland does not appear to fight to win. More often than not, he's just having fun in there. His primal focus does not appear to be winning the fight. And this goes back a very long way. Now, he does win fights, but that doesn't seem to be... I think he likes to entertain. He's having fun. I don't know that winning the fight is his number one priority. Chiesa, almost 4 takedowns, 3.5 takedowns per 15. He is almost landing no strikes. He does not want to have striking exchanges with you at all.
Nope.
He doesn't want it. Takedown defense here. Kevin Holland, 50%. I'm gonna throw one other scary thing out there. When Chiesa has lost, it seems to be he takes his opponent down, who's typically a striker, but some of his grappling is sloppy to the point where then he gets himself submitted. Now, that's a weird thing, but Kevin Holland is a guy that has like sneaky submissions from ground position, and he's pulled off that submission before. So there is that sneaky path to Kevin Holland getting taken down and then finding a submission on... Let me see if I can find odds on that, because that seems like a bet spot to me. Holland by submission.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened in the Luque fight.
Yeah, well, I know. And it was like plus 1,000.
Yep.
Holland by submission. And because he's just... Yeah, plus 350. So they smartened up a little bit. Let's see if that gets better. Here, plus 525 on Unibet. That's not a real thing. My bookie has it at plus 500. So maybe plus 500. Holland by submission is a really interesting little spot. But beyond that, what's to say that Chiesa won't just take this guy down and control him for a 3 round or find the sub himself?
And that's exactly how I'm going to play this one. On top of all of what you just said, Kevin Holland displaying some relatively poor fight IQ for the most part over his
Relative,
UFC
I would
career.
say extremely
I
poor.
was trying to be nice. Yeah, he's letting people up when I mean, he knocked Wonder Boy down
Let him
and
up.
didn't jump on. Like, what the fuck kind of game plan is that? Like, that's all you have to say about Kevin Holland. I like the guy. I like watching his fights, but Jesus. And yeah, Chiesa, I highly doubt he's going to stand and throw. His offensive pace at distance is less than 1 point a minute. Doesn't allow much more than that either. Scores 4.2 points a minute inside the distance, and Kevin Holland in 3-round welterweight fights gives up 10 points a minute inside the distance. So yeah, I'm thinking hopefully Chiesa can implement his game plan, get this down, and just rack up control time, rinse and repeat takedowns. As long as he doesn't get subbed, I really think Chiesa is a good DraftKings play this week at 7,800. I'm going to have a ton of him, to be completely honest. I mean, Holland is controlling, he only spends 10% of his fight time inside the distance. He's only controlling 18.5% of that fight time is Holland, whereas Chiesa spends 72% of his fight time inside the distance, controls 71% of that fight time. Yeah, I'm looking at Chiesa to just hopefully wrestle fuck Kevin Holland for a possibly. I'm not counting on a submission, but I'm counting on a decent score in a 3-round decision here. So yeah, I'm going to be pretty heavy on Chiesa. I think whether that could end up being detrimental or not is a possibility. But I'll have a little bit of Holland. But I think Chiesa, if he implements the right game plan here, should cruise for the most part.
Not a max priority, but I'm just going to show you real quick what lineups look like when you use some of the mid salaries, because we talked about it a little bit, and I want to
mid salaries are just perfect this week.
I mean, you start Poirier, right? Poirier
Yes.
in the zone here. Okay.
Yep.
Now we go. You can put Chiesa in there as a third sort of core piece, and then you're going to pick from Luis de Lima. Boom, put in de Lima, and look where we're at. 2 spots left. 8,700 remaining.
You throw in Michel Pejeda in there, you can pick whoever the fuck you want at your top end.
How about Urosh?
Or Uros.
You could do that. You could go all the way down to Flowers and then make a few different changes.
Just throw.
So we haven't gotten to Michel yet. I don't really like Michel as a play. We'll get to that fight, but like, look at now I want to get Bonfim in there.
Okay. Now, yeah, exactly.
Where we're at 8,200. Okay, now I've got a couple little swaps that I go Urosh. Boom, that's a lineup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or we go okay. So now the next lineup I'm making, I say, well, I don't really want to load up that much on, this one guy. So that's where you come off of Chiesa in the next version. So I made this one. You finish it out with like an Urosh, and then we do the next one, and you're like, all right, what if I come off of Chiesa, who's maybe a little sketchy, and kind of go to a cheaper guy? We can go to Roberts, that opponent, the one-hit slam, Flowers, not Roberts. Boom. Now I could get a second stud in the lineup.
Yep.
This is how my lineup construction has been looking. So I wanted to get a little bit into like what but that's how this week sets up. You've got your Chiesa. Yeah. You can swap out Pereira, can swap out Chiesa. If you're picking Gaethje, we'll get to the main event, but Poirier or Gaethje, whichever one you're picking, you can just take one, do the same lineup with the other guy. It's really, really, I guess, formulaic to make lineups this week for me. And I like that. I like it a lot. All right. Of course, I'm picking Chiesa to win as well. By the way, I think Chiesa might be a pretty kill-shotable guy. Let us know if you guys are watching this. If you like this fight, if you like Chiesa, if you're worried that Chiesa maybe doesn't give a shit about fighting anymore. He does not seem to have the heart for it. I think he's trying to go for that Conor McGregor lawsuit money. Quite honestly, he's doing a little bit of announcing. I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm not 100% clear that fighting is his priority anymore. And that might be a problem, but just on paper, this is a fight I think Chiesa should be able to win. All right. Next up, Tony Ferguson, Bobby Green. Man, Tony, plus 300. Come back on Green, minus 400. Over 2.5 rounds, minus 140. Fight goes distance, minus 130, Monk. So this is a really, really interesting fight. I just think this is a fascinating fight. Tony looked flabby out of shape, and just not that good against Nate Diaz. He was fighting up at 170, which was not as typical. And he might have just not trained that hard. But, man, I saw little body flaps flapping around. And he was slow.
That was the card where they had to mix up all 3 fights, wasn't it?
I don't even remember, but yes.
It was the Hamzat, Diaz,
yes.
Leo,
I didn't remember that.
Daniel Rodriguez, and Jingling. I can't
remember.
Yes,
that got all crazy, right? And he ends up fighting Nate. That's right. Nate was probably supposed to fight Khamzat in that one.
Yes, that's what it was. And Ferguson was supposed to fight. I can't remember, but yeah.
I don't remember who Ferguson, but yes. But Ferguson should have been able to beat Nate Diaz. Like, let's say vintage Ferguson could beat Nate Diaz. Ferguson's a really interesting guy.
That was the fight where Nate was like, no, and then like walked away, and then it was like he made Ferguson insta-tap, which was
he was clowning. Before. He was clowning Ferguson. He wasn't saying no, I don't want to fight anymore. He was just like,
fuck this.
He was just clowning Ferguson.
Yeah.
And Ferguson looked like a little bitch in there. You know what? Ferguson looked like a little bitch in there. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. He's fucking bowing to Nate Diaz. He's shaking his hand, trying to slap high fives. Excuse me? Ferguson? Ferguson is nasty. He hates you. You're his blood enemy. You ever see that Key and Peele sketch where he's like, God has told me to murder your
He's
family.
Like, Jesus, I gotta fight this guy.
Yeah, that was Ferguson. Ferguson is so intense that you're like scared of him as an opponent. You're like, what? This guy's crazy, dude. I don't want none of that. And instead, he's being all nice. Like Ferguson, that's not the guy I remember. So, I wanted to like Ferguson. I even put a message out in the DFS Army Discord early in the week where I was kind of like, it's really weird to see Ferguson at plus 300 against Bobby Green, because Ferguson, like 2 years ago, would have been minus 300 against Bobby Green. He would have been heavily favored. This would have been considered a mismatch. Now it's the other way, because is Ferguson done?
I think he probably could be.
Yeah, he probably.
Even though he's talking about 5 more fights in a title run, like.
I want to see what this guy looks like. I will tell you this: if I see the thin, super tight abs version of Ferguson that I've seen, the sullen, fought to get down to 155 kind of guy that I'm used to seeing, then I'm going to like Ferguson a little bit more. But if I see the flabby, out of shape, nice guy who's differential, and Bobby Green, you're a legend.
Yeah, he was acting like he was retiring during that night. He acted like that was his last fight. It was weird.
I think this might be his last fight too. Again, rumor mills floating around that this could be a retirement fight for Ferguson. So I'm just gonna say this: I wanted to like Ferguson, but I wanted to sort of. I think he's actually even worth a stab on the money line at plus 300, just because Bobby Green fights really close fights. I don't think he doesn't do a great job of putting a stamp on a fight anyway. And Ferguson did not look absolutely trash in his recent. I think the worst he looked was against Nate, to be honest. Like the other fights, like, am I really gonna, he got wrestle fucked by Dariush and Oliveira. Yeah. Quite honestly, he was beating Michael Chandler until he got knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked pretty good against Gage. In the fight against Justin Gage, I mean, that was a life changer for him, but like he was hanging in there a little bit. I think he might have won a round in that fight.
Now, he landed almost 140 strikes.
Yeah, I think he might have won a round. So I wanted to like Ferguson. I'm going to wait to see him on the scales. If he looks tight and thin, I may get a little Ferguson exposure on this card. Bobby Green, though, you tell me. I'm not sure that Bobby Green is a great DraftKings play at his price. The fight is supposed to go the distance. He doesn't really do enough grappling to where I would think he could get there in the grappling zone. So what do you think about Bobby Green here? And how do you see this fight going down in general?
I think he's way too expensive. 9,500. He was 9,400 against Gordon. And we don't know. I mean, it wasn't going to be a first-round finish. I mean, that got stopped at the end of the first round, basically. Before that, he was 76 to Dober, 67 to Makhachev, 84 to Hackprest, and 86 to Iaquinta. Why do we think at 9,500 he's going to pay off that kind of salary? I mean, he would have to finish Ferguson in the very first round, which I guess could be possible, and score a ton of volume. But I mean, Bobby Green, I mean, in his last 5, he's looked good overall. About 108 points per win over those 3 wins or something like
He's
that.
got some decent scores when he's won.
Yeah, but over in 3-round lightweight fights, it drops all the way down to 80 or 93 overall, and I believe that is over 10 lightweight wins here. So I'm probably going to be fading this one overall. 6,700 has like 2 wins since 2021. I mean, it's got like a 4% win rate. That is not something that I generally target, at all for the most part. And Bobby Green, I don't see how he's going to get a quick win here. I don't see how he gets a first round victory necessarily. His scoring is relatively run of the mill compared to the rest of, the card here. And Ferguson in his 3-round lightweight fights allowing just 88 points per loss. So I don't know. I think this one's probably going to be a fade. I mean, you nailed it with there's no way I'm going to be even close to my ownership on Bobby Green as I will to like Gabriel Bonfim. Even I'd rather probably play Miranda Maverick. I'll save 100, and I'd rather play Miranda Maverick over Bobby Green for the most part. So I'll probably be pretty low owned on this fight. Hoping to see a Ferguson win, but man, this kind of just makes me sad for the most part. And also Bobby Green, wasn't he talking about being done after the Dober fight too? Like I feel like maybe that was a thing. Maybe I'm wrong, but he's also 36, almost 37. So we're not going to see too much more of these guys, in my opinion.
Yeah, Green definitely has more life left in his legs than
For sure.
Than what I've seen out of Ferguson. Like Green is still out there competing, and he's fighting close fights in all of his fights, or most of them anyway. And so he's keeping it close. But also Bobby Green isn't exactly like I actually thought I kind of thought he beat Fiziev. Sorry. But
yeah, that was pretty close.
Yeah, he landed a lot more strikes in that fight. But like, Bobby Green is still competing, with current, UFC guys. I mean, again, you lose to Nate Diaz.
He was viciously knocked out by Dober, which we'd never really seen before. And the Makhachev fight is the Makhachev fight.
I think this fight could be close. I think there's 2 scenarios. One where Bobby Green comes in and just, Ferguson's just not even himself anymore, and he just gets knocked out, and we should have played Green, right? Yeah. But the other version is it's kind of a close fight, and it goes to decision, and you're not sure, and you're kind of like, well, Ferguson probably lost, but I don't know. I could see that. So I don't.
If that's the case, you're going to want to play a little bit of Ferguson if he wins a decision, even at 6,700.
Yeah, I think you could play a little bit of him. I don't think Ferguson's got anything in his game to finish Bobby Green or score well, but I think he might be able to get a win. And I think it's probably a little bit better play at the sportsbook window. Just take a little stab at that plus 280. Just he wins by split decision. He get there. If he could last for 3 rounds and they just strike, you never know. But he did not look good to me. He looked terrible against Nate. And again, you can't. Nate was faster than him, and Nate is so big and slow. Like to have less speed than Nate is a problem. It's a problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Next up, we've got Wonder Boy. What is the secret of your power? He's taking on Michel Pereira. Wonder Boy minus 150. Michel coming back at plus 130. And the fight goes the distance. A solid, highly expected minus 175, meaning the odds makers are expecting this one as likely to go to decision. Now, a couple things about this fight, Monk. This does not stand out to me as a high-scoring DraftKings affair by many multiples. Number one being Michel Pereira just does not have good scores. He hasn't had one yet. He has not done anything to produce a quality DraftKings. Like, it hasn't been terrible, but here are his wins. 70. Now, he wins a lot. 74, 80, 91, 62 in a win, 86, 102. There's your Roberts win, first round or whatever. Everybody beats Roberts quickly. Irrelevant.
Shout out to Johnny Parsons.
Yeah. Again, with all of that being said, he's winning fights, but he's not scoring well. He's a decision. And it's funny because we think of him as this athletic kind of like super striker guy, but he's not finishing fights. He's landing quite a bit. Now, no one lands 107 strikes in 3 rounds against Wonderboy. I don't think it's there. I don't think that is going to be available for anybody. Wonderboy is too good defensively, and I just don't see this happening. So I don't like the scoring potential here at all for Pereira. And on the flip side, with Wonderboy, I think he's going to win the fight. I think Wonderboy is a better technical striker. I think he will win this fight, but he's going to do it in Wonderboy fashion, which usually doesn't lead to a big productive score on FanDuel. And it's funny because when you look at his recent history, and I don't know how your metrics kind of like take this into account, but like it's like, oh, he scored a 102, he scored a 110. Those have been 5-round fights. So he's been landing a lot of he's been landing a lot of volume, but that volume has come against aggressive strikers. Whereas Pereira is much more, in my mind, of a counter striker. And when Stephen Thompson, who's almost exclusively a counter striker, goes up against another counter striker, there's a lot of standing around. And there's a lot of time where no action is happening on the screen.
Yep.
And so I'm concerned here that we're not going to see this 140, 120 strikeout. We know neither guy is going to grapple much. I'm concerned we're not going to see this 140, 130, 170 strikes, but rather we might see a more typical 60 to 80 strike decision win for the winner, which I think will be Wonderboy, but I don't think that scores enough to be worthwhile of the nuts lineup. What do you say?
I generally agree. I don't. Stephen Thompson, always everyone's favorite, for obvious reasons, but he is almost, he's well over 40 years old now. He's about 40, I think, in 5 months, something 40. Like that. So that definitely is raising some flags. That said, he's never appeared to slow down. In fact, he looked fantastic against Kevin Holland. But like you said, aggressive striker who makes poor decisions on the feet. Meanwhile, Pereira, only 82.6 points per win overall. He allows only 56 points in his one loss. I believe he only has one loss. I don't remember. But yeah, no points in Michel Pereira fights. Like you said, he looks flashy, does all these things. That was in his first fight or 2 fights in the UFC. He has significantly toned that down, much like Johnny Walker, if you remember that run.
Yeah, when we watched him gas himself out with backflips and
exactly.
walking down to, he's like, I probably shouldn't do that anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
And that was winning.
Yeah, and he was, exactly. So he's doing backflips onto Nico Price's head. The referee has no fucking idea what to do about that, which I find hilarious every time I see that. But it's going to be hard to get away from Stephen Thompson this week. I think Pereira does have a little bit of value at 7,400, just because I think the line is way too wide here. That's my main thing. I don't think Stephen Thompson should be 8,800. This should be more like 8,577.
Well, if you compare the line odds to the salary, you're spot on. Like, why is Rogerio de Lima cheaper than Wonderboy when Rogerio de Lima is minus 225? And we could say the same about Semmelsberger, right? So like you could this fight could have been 8K.
Exactly. 100%. And now we're
do 81. They need to bring back.
They never do that.
They need to bring it back. They used to. I feel like they used to have it.
They do. I think the last one was one of the Dominic Cruz fight. I don't remember. It's been a while since they've done that. It's only been a handful of times.
They don't like it because it causes too many ties. Actually, DraftKings correct to avoid that one. It just causes too many ties. But like, should have an 81. Pereira is live for a flash knockout in the same vein that Pettis knocked this guy out. Just like
punch off the cage
out of nowhere.
That exact punch, replicate that, it's Michel Pereira.
That's what I'm saying. He might have that exact punch in his repertoire. and if it's not, a version of that with a kick, with a head kick is in the repertoire. And Wonderboy could be surprised by an unorthodox guy and just get slept. He's 40, you're right, 40 in months. So that's in the cards. But if that doesn't happen, Monk, where is the scenario where this guy lands more than 60 strikes? I don't see it.
It's not a real thing. Yeah, I agree. So it's basically boom or bust for the dog at 7,400. I don't think he's going to score well even in a win. And Thompson, I think, is just too expensive. So I guess I'm going to be fading this one a little bit overall.
Are you a Tenacious D fan?
Oh yeah.
Oh, so you know about the D.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
When I heard Wonder Boy's walkout song, I'm like, I'm familiar with this song.
They finally met up last year. There's video of him and Jack Black talking and shit. I think Jack Black's throwing some kicks around. It's pretty entertaining for sure. Wonder Boy's one of those guys, man. If you don't like Wonder Boy, then I don't like you. There's just something wrong with you if you don't think Wonder Boy is like a fun or interesting guy to watch. So
he's one of the best guys. Not everybody knows. Like, this guy is still, he's at like a karate gym training with like the kids.
Training with his dad. Yeah.
But he's also in there with like actual students. Like, you could join his karate gym and you'll, like, if your kid is part of that gym, he's like meeting and being taught by Wonder Boy himself. Like, he's there.
Fucking crazy.
I love it. It reminds me of Roxy Montefiore too. Just like the nicest people they make the sport great because they're like just like super nice, great dude. And like, yeah, 100%. You can't not like Wonder Boy.
Rooting for him
although
this weekend, for sure.
He should have beat. I can't believe he didn't beat T Wood or they didn't give him those wins.
Oh, I know. That's
such bullshit.
Dang. Looking back on that is depressing.
He should have had his little run as the UFC champion.
Oh, that would
have been great. He should have gotten his little run.
Mm-hmm. He could have made a rap song, not T Wood.
Yeah, with Jack Black.
Yeah, there you go.
Really good. All right. Next up, we've got the co-main event. This is a fun fight between Jan Blachowicz and Alex Pereira. With the line has been moving around quite a bit. I feel like the DraftKings number is the correct one at -110. I'm not sure you can actually find him on a real sports book right now at better than -110. What is it saying? -1 bookie. My bookie. Where's Bet Online? I don't even have. Where the fuck is Bet Online?
First column. -1.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I don't know. It's saying Bet Online at +100. I don't know if I buy it. -103. -105. I don't know. So Pereira, though, still slightly the underdog in this fight. And again, he's taking on Jan Blachowicz. We all know that Jan Blachowicz got the W against Israel Adesanya. And now we just saw Israel Adesanya get a W against Alex Pereira. Therefore, the assumption is, oh, that means that Blachowicz is going to beat Alex Pereira, right? 1 + 1 = 2. So here's the thing, though, Mike. Alex Pereira, like, is he Adesanya? Now, I am concerned about the went to sleep and took a nap for 2 full minutes in the ring, just like a couple of months ago for Pereira. Don't get me wrong. I'm concerned. But Jan Blachowicz, how is he better? In what arena is he superior to Pereira? Because Pereira is going to be the superior striker here.
Oh, because Blachowicz is going to come in here and land 14 takedowns on Pereira. Everybody knows that.
Oh,
ridiculous. That's the narrative. That is the narrative this week, that Blachowicz is going to turn into freaking Gable and just wrestle Pereira to death. And I don't agree with that at all.
I wish I could throw up the ORLY meme from the 90s with the little, like, the bird.
Yep.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Is this
let's take a look at at Jan Blachowicz' career real quick, okay? And I'm on where is this grappling heavy game plan that exists? So, okay, he got a couple takedowns against Izzy in that fight, late in the fight. Fine. You helped him win. Now I go back, fight after fight after fight after fight after fight after fight after fight, and all I see are zeros. Here against Jared Cannonier
by Nikita Krylov.
Yeah, I mean, fine. You know, Nikita Krylov against Jared Cannonier back when Cannonier could not stop a takedown to save his life in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
He did this. I will venture to say that Alex Pereira's takedown defense today is massively better than 2017 version of Jared Cannonier, who could not stop a takedown and was a killer, and you had to go for takedowns. But for the most part, Jan Blachowicz' career does not involve a ton of heavy grappling based wins. He's done it a little bit. He's got it in his repertoire, but he rarely will execute that game plan over the course of 3 rounds. And quite honestly, I don't think he has what it takes to hold Pereira down for multiple minutes.
Yeah, it's
like
not
Pereira's just going
legendary
to get back
Polish
up.
grappler.
He's not a great
His
grappler.
name.
He's the Polish power. And let's talk about the Polish power of Jan Blachowicz.
Questionable.
Well, Polish power is different from like regular power in the sense that apparently it means you never knock anybody out. Polish power. It's a different kind of a power. They talk about the Polish power. It's apparently this version of power that involves never getting a finish. Where are the knockouts? Where are the finishes?
Dominic Reyes, because that dude knocks himself out.
Dominic Reyes was finished.
Yeah.
Before the fight started. This guy has been finished. Where is he since this fight, by the way? Has he fought again? No,
he did. He lost Ryan Spann in the first round.
He's losing to everybody.
Yeah.
Right? He's been finished. But let's go back before this little run of Corey Anderson, who also gets knocked out by everybody, right? And Luke Rockhold, again, am I really going to be excited about this knockout? And you go back and he's got a long career of decision after decision after decision after decision and again, you might say, well, that's a long time ago. I mean, this was his prime. He got a body kick win against Latifi is actually pretty impressive. But I mean, this guy has much more been a decision machine throughout his career than a finisher.
Mm-hmm.
So again, Anderson, he got the finish, fine, whatever. I don't see where this guy is knocking a ton of people out. 31% of his wins come by KO. The vast majority submission or decision. I don't think that he's going to have what it takes to take down and hold Pereira down. And Pereira is a large man. This is the other thing. Everybody's like, well, when Izzy fought Jan looked significantly larger as like a man, right? Physically. He's just a physically larger guy. He's not larger than Pereira.
No.
He's smaller than Pereira. Pereira's 6'4" and thick. Jan Blachowicz is 6'2". Thick also, but Pereira is just as thick. When these two guys stand next to each other, they're going to look about the same. Whereas when Izzy stood next to Jan, he looked significantly smaller, like a thinner guy, not height-wise, but just the body mass in general-wise, he looked smaller. So I think there's no size advantage for Blachowicz here. Alex might look better at 205 than he did at cutting all the way down to 185.
Which is also what I think had to do with that knockdown, that knockout. That cut has a lot
correct.
To do with that.
And let's not forget that Pereira was absolutely winning that fight up until that punch. Like he was just doing what he did in the first fight against Izzy. He's winning the fight and he got caught. He got out of position. He got caught. That is live to happen here as well. Let's not kid ourselves. That's always live when two large men are going at it in a cage and they're throwing fists and they throw hard fists. Like both guys punch really, really hard. But Pereira should be the much more technical striker, the bigger kicks, bigger punches, more technical. If you can out-technical Izzy Adesanya, you could definitely out-technical Jan Blachowicz. So I like Pereira. I've got a bet on Pereira. He's one of my can he score well enough? I don't know. That is the concern here. This is a 3-round fight. I think he's going to throw lots of strikes. Let's see. Fight ends inside the distance, minus 215. So we're getting a pretty good number there. $8K. That's a cheap price for any. That's like a sub 8,200. I love Pereira on this card. I'll have a ton of him. But the one concern I've got, the primary concern, is it goes to decision and just doesn't score enough to be in the nuts. So that is in play. Be careful.
Yeah, I agree there. The other thing I'll say is, who is Alex Pereira's best friend and coach? A guy that just beat Blon Jakovic a few fights ago here. I think that's an advantage, regardless of anything else. That is definitely an advantage. I don't have much else to say. I'm also on the Pereira side. I think he's much more powerful in certain strikes for sure. He's cheaper than Jan Blachowicz, and Jan Blachowicz has never had a fight in which he's been 40 years old before. So that seems to be a magic number. We've got two 40-year-olds back-to-back in Blachowicz and Wonderboy, and they're fighting 2 Pejettas back to back as well. So I'm leaning Alex here, to be honest. I just think he's quicker. I really think the chin issue had a lot to do with all that dropped weight going down to 185. Now he's at 205, where everyone assumes that he is supposed to be. He looks much more natural. He's out drinking, chugging waters and stuff during fight week. So I think he's going to look a lot better. And I think Blachowicz is probably just going to look exactly like we've always seen him. The guy scores 2.19 points a minute in his last 5, just 91 points per win. Overall, it's a little bit better than that, 2.93. But his numbers are, he's not scoring 100 points hardly at all. In fact, only 1 of his 7 wins at the weight class in 3-round fights has he put up triple digits. So also the last thing you said, Pejetta's takedown defense currently sits at 74%, which is better than Jan Blachowicz 63%, which we see currently right now. So the strength of schedule is actually relatively even as well. I'm leaning Alex Pereira here to get the job done against Blachowicz. Now, I won't have much Blachowicz probably rostered because I don't think he's going to KO Alex Pereira. So I'll have more Pereira, but either way, I think this one is probably a little bit of a fade, just a little bit of a fade overall, because I do think it goes longer, and neither guy historically scores well ever.
Very dangerous fight to load up on too much. And
yes.
and again, which is why when you're doing the mid-salary approach, it's the Pereira and Chiesa, you like switch that one out. You don't always need a piece from this fight to make it work. And, when that little bit of extra money is left over, that's where you can take the Pereira side and kind of maybe pop it up to a Semmelsberger or one of these other guys that maybe we're not loading up on, but we want to mix them in. So, yeah, I totally agree. Again, I've got a bet on Pereira. I think that one of my more liked bets that I've put on in a while, just because, again, the narrative of Jan taking him down, I don't see that. And I see them striking, and I see Pereira as being slightly better. I'm just worried about if the chin has leftover issues from just being knocked out a few months ago. But if that wasn't the case, again, Jan is not really that big of a puncher and is not a knockout guy all that much. So I don't see Jan having what it takes to knock out Alex Pereira. By the way, you mentioned, the 2 Pereiras back to back and everything. That always messes with the optimizer.
Yeah, for sure. They're spelled the exact same.
Yeah, we have to go in and make a manual change because it's last name based.
So
and
annoying.
I don't know. I don't know who the opponent is. So we always have to go in.
Are we talking about?
Yeah, the artificial intelligence we have in the optimizer that figures that stuff out. It's not that intelligent.
I know they're saying AI is going to take over. It's like, well, it doesn't even know what I'm trying to spell in my phone. So I don't know what we're talking about here.
Eventually it'll get it figured out though. Yeah, I like Pereira, but I agree with you. There's a little bit of danger here in the sense that this fight, if it goes 3 rounds, I don't think there'll be low volume, but I even think 115 strikes landed over 3 rounds, that's only 44.
Yeah, you might see an 80-point 3rd round KO here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
44 and in 50. If you get the 3rd round, I think if it ends inside a distance with a knockdown, that'll get us there. But it might get you there with the 90. It might not be 100 plus. So there's that risk. All right, main event time, guys. If you've hung with us this long, smash the like button. You've enjoyed the breakdown. Smash the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you get everything. Sniper's going to be back with a solo breakdown. We got the Prize Picks breakdown coming for MMA, UFC. We've got it all broken down. If you're not subscribed to the FS Army, we've got an MMA only package. If you want to set up, be in the Discord, get the kill shots from the whole team, talk fights all throughout the week, names that you love, they're in the Discord. Get signed up, thefsarmy.com, of course. But we just want you to, even if you don't sign up and you don't want to pay for a membership, stick with the YouTube channel, subscribe, be with us, leave comments, let us know that you're out there. And we'll keep, we want to keep hammering out these videos and bringing it to you, but it helps us to get the word out that, hey, we're putting out some good stuff here. So we ask that you kindly subscribe to the channel and like the video. And of course, leave your comments, what you think on these fights in the comments section below. And we'll always read and answer those. All right, main event time. We've got a fun one. The rematch of Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. Currently, the odds have it as Poirier a -145 favorite with the comeback on Gaethje at +125. Fight ends inside the distance, -260. So one nice thing about this fight is they fought already a few years ago, and we got to watch that fight really play out. If you go back and watch Monk, Poirier's winning the first couple rounds. Gaethje, I would say in pretty dominant fashion, just looking faster, looking better in all areas. Gaethje kind of makes a comeback in round 3, lands a good strike, wobbles Dustin for a little bit. Gaethje's landing nasty leg kicks the whole time. It's kind of looking like Dustin's leg might be lost at some point with one more kick, but somehow Dustin survives. 4th round, Dustin lands the big shot early, wobbles Gaethje, and is able to finish Gaethje from there. If you look back on the cards, it would have had Dustin up 2-1 going into the 4th. And of course, so that's the scenario that I'm laying out here. The reason I'm laying it out is because I don't really see. I think if these two guys fought 10 times, that Gaethje will win maybe 3 of those. At some point, Gaethje's leg kicks might get to Dustin. Gaethje's a big hitter and he's throwing a lot of volume. Dustin's more volume, which is crazy, but Gaethje's up there in the volume. Dustin, more volume. Dustin, he's no joke. Poirier, what's his weakness? Nothing, right? He's got no weakness other than the fact that he's getting older and maybe he doesn't care. That it's like the Nunes weakness, right? She just didn't get up for the fight. That's when she loses. I'm worried about Dustin, like his level of give a shit, because you need to be in championship mentality to beat Justin Gaethje. You got to be in like championship.
He's going to show up.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't show up. You know how a great football team sometimes loses the game just because they're like, that happens in MMA too. That happens in sports. On paper, Poirier is better. He's more technical. He's more durable. We saw this fight play out already once, like I said. But when you watch that fight, again, Justin did land and did wobble Poirier. And quite honestly, I thought he fucked up in that fight by grappling when he had Poirier. I don't understand why he did it. Like, all of a sudden, they're clinched up, and you're like, dude, you just wobbled your opponent, and you are a kill instinct guy, and yet instead of going for the kill, you're now clinched up. And he threw some good strikes from the clinch, but like, why are you clinched up and throwing knees to the body when your opponent just wobbled and showed clear signs of hurt? Didn't make sense. And the announcers are going, well, it's good for Dustin here. He's recovering. Like, why are you letting him recover? Of course, Rogan screaming, why are you letting him recover? I didn't understand. So there was a path to Justin winning that fight. If he landed a couple more leg shots, that might have done the job. Sometimes you hit the nerve in the right spot on that leg, and that's it. Nothing. Can't do anything. He's done. He didn't get there. He almost had the leg shot, but he didn't quite get there. He almost had the finish, didn't get there. And then Dustin's durability kicks in. Dustin's heart kicks in. Dustin's cardio kicks in, and he wins it in round 4. I don't see why this fight goes any different than the first one. It should be exactly the same, with Gaethje along the way having chances to potentially win. He might get those chances, but put this in a vacuum. Poirier comes in ready to fight. He wins it, in my mind, 7 times out of 10. More often than not, Poirier's going to win this fight. He will outvolume Gaethje, as crazy as that sounds. The leg kicks, he's super tough. Didn't seem to ruin him. Gaethje, to his credit, Dustin's got leg kicks too. Gaethje just doesn't feel them. He's very good at checking them. Dustin was not able to land them. His foot was up almost every time. So he was seeing them and avoiding it. So I think it'll be Gaethje kicking the leg. I think it'll be Dustin. Dustin has takedown ability if he wants to. I think he could take him down if he needs it. He didn't even need it in the last fight. If he needs it, he could do it here. I don't know. So my take is I am favoring Dustin to win this fight. It's 5 rounds. If Dustin wins, he's going to be in the winning lineup, probably. I think you probably go close to 100% all in on this particular fight because we are promised 5 rounds of high volume action. But I'm going to favor Dustin, and I'll get some exposure to Justin because you got to have to give it. He wins it 3 times out of 10. He's going to win it. And for both of these men, it would actually be better if Justin wins because then it would set up a trilogy, and there's a lot of money in that. So Not that I think that means anything, but that's the thing. What do you say here, Monk? How do you see it going down?
For sure, I agree. I mean, I think this is a must-play fight. Quick little stats here: 5-round fights, someone makes optimal 62% of the time. Title fights, 63.5% of the time. Main event and title fights, 61%, and just main events, 60.5. So we're
It's
over
actually
60%.
lower than I would have expected.
Yeah, still it's damn good. Over 60% across the board as far as trends go for this specific fight. So I do like that. Pair that with the fact that these two guys score better than almost anyone on the card, not named Gabriel Bonfim or Miranda Maverick for that matter. Dustin Poirier, 110 per win. Gaethje at the weight class, 5-round lightweight fight specifically, 110 points per win. Gaethje 106.5. Both guys allow basically 104 when they lose. So tons of points flying around these fights. All seven of Poirier's 5-round lightweight wins over 100 points. 3 of Justin Gaethje's 4 wins at the weight class 5-round fights over 100 points. The guys just score fantastically. Their strengths of schedule are fantastic. I completely agree. I'll probably be 70-30 on Dustin Poirier. This fight, the salaries are just, oh my God, 8,300 for Poirier this week. This could be the best value on the card, and likewise for Justin Gaethje if he wins. Both of these guys are killers. They both know how to finish fights. They both know how to score well consistently, and I love the numbers for 5-round fights here. This might be my highest owned fight overall, and it might not even be close. I'm trying to look at the other ones. I mean,
the salary.
The salary, man. This is easily going to be my highest owned.
Take your 63% statistic, right? Mm-hmm. You got a broad-based statistic there. Now I want you to, and we'll comment on it or wherever, because I'm sure you can't do this at this moment. So we'll drop it in the comments, and we'll drop it in the DF's Army Discord to discuss. Now I want you to look at main event / championship fights where the salaries were low. Where the salaries were low. Mm-hmm. Okay, and look at the change where 63% might go up to 90%.
Yeah, exactly.
85, 90. So that's why I said typically that sounds low. But then as I rethought it, no, when you get a 5-round fight and one of them is 9,700 and the other one is, then a lot of times that 9,700 wins, but they're just not in the nuts. Yep. And so it's like that ruins that statistic. Remember, it's how you, so if you look at the same statistical set and now you narrow it down to the fights, it had to be a range of, let's say 7,600 to 8,500.
Exactly.
Now it's like 90%.
Yeah.
This is an all-in situation. Yep. You can 100% this. And if you're playing cash this week, this is a stack. So you could play both sides of this fight in your cash lineup. No worries. You're probably going to get a 35 to 40 point score from the loser and about a 110 from the winner. That's 150 combo.
Beautiful.
That's how you play this. And then you don't really need to stack so much this week because there's like a lot of value out there. It's like not necessary, but it's still doable. But my point is, I think this fight it makes the nuts 90% of the time on a card the way we have it set up today. Mm-hmm. The salaries, the whole thing, it just makes sense. And these two guys are going to throw volume at one another. I want to say this other thing, Monk. I feel like we're privileged to watch a fight like this.
Agreed.
Yeah, these are the special fights. Now, I'm not sure it's going to play out how it will play. It could be a knockout in 5 minutes. Could be 2 minutes. But these two men, this is a special fight. We're lucky to be able to see fights like this. They put on a show. These are like they take years off your career. And Dustin has been doing this for a while. I'm worried. Both of these guys have been doing it. The fight against with Max. Oh, my God. And the previous fight with Justin. So the level of warrior that Dustin has been showing is just so spectacular. And Justin and Dustin are doing it. Every 100%. Fight for Justin Gaethje looks like this. Yeah. So it's like we are lucky to get to see this fight.
And these guys look like they're ready to die in there every time they go in. And obviously you don't want to see that, but I mean, they are giving it all.
Tough, heart. Now, again, I hope we see all the heart and the toughness. Sometimes they lose that, like a Dustin could lose that. He's been winning. He hit the peak of the mountain. It's hard to maintain it. We see it all the time. The champions, especially, they get there and then it's kind of like, all right, I'm here. And it's hard to maintain that level of fire and desire.
Yep.
That separates the great athletes from the all-time great athletes.
Mhm.
But with that being said, we're lucky to see this fight. I can't wait to watch it. This does make the pay-per-view money worth it. Sometimes you don't want to pay that pay-per-view price. Fuck this fight. Why are two fat, shitty heavyweights in the main card? I'm not paying for this. But this card really gave it to us good, and they're giving us a main event that we're fortunate to watch. And again, if Gaethje wins, okay, trilogy time, and I wouldn't mind that either. I typically don't enjoy trilogies, but this one would be one of those ones where I could watch them fight again and again and again. So I am picking Dustin here. I think he wins this fight 7 times out of 10. I think he's bettable at minus 140. I don't know if I'm going to bet it, but I probably will. I think I will end up betting this. I think he's bettable at minus 140 because I do think he probably should be closer to minus 200 in this fight. But 100% or 95% exposure in turn. What if the eye pokes? By the way, you want to talk about blow up the whole card? How about Dustin was eye poking the shit out of Dustin in the first version, and imagine the eye poke Tuivasa style, or who the hell was it that not Tuivasa, the other fat ass from the guy Justin Tafa style.
Tafa,
yeah, where and then they just like, sorry, it's over, and
No
we're 95% exposed. We got 95% exposure to the fight. I'm like, this fight can't lose, and then.
And then they go out and Dean Barry each other. Yeah, that would be terrible.
Oh man, they're so tough. You'd have to almost poke the eye out of the socket.
Yeah, you'd have to really catch Awera, get up in there, just pull it out like what's her name from Kill Bill.
Yes, remember there was a fight once, a female fight. I can't remember it, where the girl's toenail, like in a kick, just caught the eye, and it was canceled. I can't remember who was fighting.
That's awful.
But it was like a toenail or something, caught like in a head kick, and then toenail got the eye, and they were like, first round, shut it down. And I think I can't remember. But guys, if you remember who that was, drop the comment where it was like an early fight, women's fight, a head kick of Norma Dumont. I don't remember who it was, but like the fight was just who's that other one? The short hair girl, Macy Chasson or some. No. Megan Anderson was involved. Oh my God. It was Megan Anderson. Don't remember the rest, but if you know what fight that was, let me know.
I can't remember. Yeah,
below. There was a Megan Anderson fight, and like a head kick, toe got in the eye. Fight was canceled. That was it. All right, kill shot time, guys. Kill shot. So we've broken down the card, and now Monk and I are going to give you our favorite underdog plays on this card. Who's going to help you win the tournament this week as an underdog? Sniper did call into the show. So we got the Sniper kill shot, and Sniper is actually going with, and I'm going to just, Derek Flowers. Mm-hmm. Balls out. Derek Flowers to slam, knockout Jake Matthews. Via slam. I love it.
That would be awesome.
Yes. Now, the Vince kill shot, the most coveted kill shot of all, is only available to those of you who are in the DFS Army Discord. That's the only place you can get the Vince kill shot. Vince has now nailed, 5-6 core plays in a row, including last week's kill shot, which was part of the nuts, even in a loss.
2 weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, the nuts kill shot. The guy lost. Who was? I don't remember last week. It's too far back. But 2 weeks ago, it was the guy who lost, but was in the nuts. Before that, nailing Denise Gomes. Oh my God, I made so much money on the Vince Denise Gomes call. That was gold. You can only get that in the DFS Army Discord. So make sure make sure you're in our Discord no matter what. There's a link in the description below to join the Discord. We have a public section. You don't have to be subscribed to be in the Discord. Of course, subscribers get extra access to everybody and all the cheat sheets and all the good stuff and the primary chat. But we have a full Discord going. You can sign up in the description. Link in the description. So, kill shot, Monk. Give me your underdog that's going to lead us to DraftKings glory this week.
I'm going to have to go with the wrestling path for one Michael Chiesa this week. I'm gonna pick Chiesa. There's a couple other ones I'm really eyeing that aren't too popular, I don't think, but I'm gonna go with Chiesa over Kevin Holland. as my kill shot this week. Hopefully,
I like it.
He gets a bunch of wrestling points, and I can make up some ground here.
I absolutely love it. Right? I love Chiesa as a kill shot. I'm going to give you. I'm going to tell you who my primary, and then I'm going to go secondary. So I think it's a bit of a weak sauce kill shot.
It is
to go with Pereira, Alex Pereira, which is why I'm not going to do it. But I do love Alex Pereira, and he's a slight underdog.
Same.
Yes, but we're not going to. That's a cop out. Too easy.
Mm-hmm.
Too easy. So, and I want to give you a kill shot that I actually believe Pereira, I think, will be highly on. I want to give you a kill shot that I believe will, if this wins, it will win us the tournament. Okay, this is if you're right, this is how you win the tournament. Now, I love Flowers, and I agree with Sniper on it, so I'm not going to pick that, but I love Flowers. So I need to say it. But my kill shot is Uroš Medic.
Yes.
To win the tournament. Get a finish on Semmelsberger. Everybody's on Semmelsberger.
Mm-hmm.
Low-owned, Uroš Medic. Funny sounding name. I get to Uroš Medic, right? I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right.
I think that's how we're going to say it from now on.
Yeah, we got to say it like that no matter what. Give me Uroš Medic to get the underdog knockout like he typically gets at sub 15% ownership and win us the tournament this week. That's how we do it.
It's Uroš Medic. That's what we're going to say.
Did you just look it up? Like the correct pronunciation?
No. It's the oh my God girl. Gerd. It's Uroš Medic.
Yeah, this is like his name is like the Swedish chefs from the Muppets. So that's going to do it for us, guys. An hour and 46 on a 2-man.
There we go. We nailed it.
The people are going to be saying, we want Sniper, get Geek off of there. Talks too much. If you think that, put the comment in the comment section below. I get it. Get Geek out of there. Don't worry. Moving on to football in a couple of weeks. So
it's coming up.
You won't have me for NFL, for MMA for that much longer. Although I will always be here in spirit on the podcast. But yeah, good luck this week, everybody. Again, strategy. We talked about it. For DFS Army subscribers, Sniper will be coming out with a VIP, his personal breakdown, thoughts, and everything. He's always got sharp thoughts. Of course, we've got the cheat sheets going. Vince, Gino, Eric, Monk, Sniper, everybody's got their cheat sheets put together with their notes and all of that. We've got a ton. We do so much for MMA. It really is a spectacular place to get your DFS MMA information in DFS Army. Of course, all other DFS sports, we crush those as well. So we love to see you in the Discord chat talking fights. And of course, I love to see you at the top of the leaderboard. So let's all max out this $3 contest. Let's take it down. Let's put those DFS Army helmets at the top of the leaderboard. I want to give out some swag. You know how you get swag in DFS Army, Monk?
How's that?
You win a tournament rocking the DFS Army avatar.
Yes.
And we give out the swag. And our swag is no joke. This shirt, first of all, you want this. How much would you pay for a shirt like this, right?
$45.
Easy. $45. The best, softest cotton you could buy.
Mm-hmm.
I wear these all the time. You know how many shirt models I tried on before this one? 23.
Oh shit.
20. I have 23 black shirts that did not make the cut. They're in that's why I always wear black, by the way. They're like, why do you always wear black t-shirts?
This one says DFS Mary. Oh well.
The t-shirt companies send you a shirt to test out. So I asked for, I'm like, give me 20 of them. Try it on. Give it a shot. Right. Run it through the wash. Try it on again. This is a serious process. You get a hat, get a thing, get a pen, get some earbuds, some earbuds. Who else is giving earbuds? Cozy, beer cozy?
Nobody.
We're leveling up the swag. Like rock the DFS Army avatar. Win a tournament, you get the swag. The originators of it. So we will see you guys next time on another kill shot. Good luck this week. Let's cash those tickets, guys. Take care.